I'm Joanna Guy, Lead Associate in Booz Allen's Global Defense Sector, and this is Master the Mission with Rex Jordan. Rex is Booz Allen's Senior Vice President and Global Enterprise Lead of Business in the Indo-Pacific. Formerly, Rex served for 20 years in the Air Force, where he was a crew member of Air Force One, Chief Navigator, and Chief of Presidential Flight Support. Thanks for joining me, Rex.
Joanna, thanks for having me.
What was it like flying the president and being an air crew member of Air Force One?
Well, to say the least, it was very thrilling. My time on Air Force One was with President Clinton for his last administration, for his re-election campaign, and the last 4 years of his administration, plus a few months of George Bush. Very exciting, very thrilling. It was a high visibility, no fail, obviously, mission to be a part of, but it's also very thrilling to be a part of something that's so visible and so important to the nation.
What drew you to bolster national and global security, specifically for the defense mission in the Indo-Pacific region?
The evolution of the adversary, and that evolution has been pretty obvious over the past decade, has really led us to a place where there are a few things that have become apparent. One of them is some of the advantages that we've had for decades now, because of the geography, because of the expanses of the Pacific, because of the limitations on some of the technologies that have been out there, have distinctly given us a projection advantage, a capability advantage, a technology advantage. So time has become the most critical component throughout the Pacific. And the temporal elements that we had the advantage on in decades past simply don't exist anymore. The time to respond has just been compressed so much over the past decade that things like a digital twin, where we can manipulate and understand and provide multiple courses of action or courses in general, it really does compress that time frame to make those decisions of what we can do. And the limitations on the infrastructure throughout the Pacific, I mean, everybody understands vast expanses of ocean, limited number of ports and airfields and safe harbors around the area, really drive home the need to be able to digitize and to be able to make those kind of decisions in a much more dynamic fashion. That's really the advantage there.
The Indo-Pacific Digital Twin is just one of the technologies that you're investing in and developing right there in Honolulu at the Honolulu Booz Allen Innovation Lab. What are some of the other technologies that you're looking at?
Well, so we're very focused on a couple of things. One of them is training. And at the very beginning of the whole life cycle of response is training. And the evolution of training is really very exciting as well. And you can call it accelerated readiness, but it's really including all the elements that we just talked about. Things like AI, things like augmented reality, virtual reality, so that units and troops and leaders don't necessarily have to travel those great distances to get the training that they need. And we're investing in that heavily now. So if you come to the Honolulu office, and we'd certainly like to host you, you can see where we are now. We have 3D printers. We have the AR, VR capability. We're about to get what we're calling an X-ray sled, where we're able to inject new curriculum into the training devices that the warfighters are using to really try to compress some of that training time and inject more realism into it as well. So a very exciting time in the Honolulu office.
You touched on X-ray and the extended reality analytics engine. This is a tool to receive real-time analytics as you're training on things like eye tracking. If you're a pilot in a cockpit, you mentioned the X-ray sled that's coming in. Why are real-time analytics, perhaps bolstered by a tool like generative AI, so important for training in the Indo-Pacific?
Well, a couple of things. One, and I still come back to what we talked about just a moment ago, the temporal aspects of this. The time that we have had the luxury of investing in the past in large-scale training simply doesn't exist any longer. The fact that we need to push pilots through all types of different circumstances. In the past, we were limited by aircraft availability or airfield availability or a number of different environmental circumstances. It just kept, and this goes for sea training as well as air training, by the way, or any other type of training. The limitations on those environments have given us structures that we simply can't live within anymore. the ability to analyze the training environment, to analyze the individual, allows us to customize those scenarios, those responses, all the kind of things that go into really enhancing our ability to respond at an individual, at a collective level, and really at a national level to a large degree now.
And your role now is really focused on advancing joint, as you said, and multi-domain operations.
So as complex as the world is, and as complex as the Indo-Pacific is, the multi-domain operations is a critical component to that. Not just the multi-domain piece, but the multinational piece as well, just because of the fact that the geography is so expansive, the complexity of the operating within the region is so difficult, and in the advancement of our adversary puts us in a place where all of those things just have to come together in a unified way.
And a large part of that is collaboration and interoperability, especially with our allies and coalition partners. How do you see Booz Allen driving forward the mission of a mission partner environment?
So all of those things come into play because, again, just to repeat, it's absolutely critical that we be able to operate with our allies, with our partners, with all the folks that bring capabilities that just enhance the things that we bring. The most critical piece of operating in the Pacific now has really become time. In the past, our real strength has been power projection and the fact that we were able to sense and decide in a very short period of time. Well, that short period of time has become much shorter now. With the advancement of technology such as hypersonics, with the ability for space-based assets to generate so much data, with the ability of our adversary to be able to take advantage of some of the things that we in the past have been able to take advantage of, like the great distances. All those things are now coming into play. So time has become a critical factor. And being able to operate with our allies and partners only enhances our ability to make those decisions, to be able to sense the things that we need to be able to sense across the broad expanses of the Pacific, to be able to recognize the things that really are threats, to be able to decide what really is a threat, and to act against that. And those timeframes, which in the past have been primarily framed around 30-minute windows, 30 minutes to sense, 30 minutes to decide, 30 minutes to really react, are now compressed into places where that's much shorter than that, even with the long distances between locations. So all of those things are now coming into play, and our ability to inject technology such as AI, really our data science pieces of this, to be able to understand how those all interoperate and can really connect to enhance those decision-making timeframes are critical now.
Thank you so much, Rex.
All right, thank you.